Hello there, and welcome to the Dually Leadership Experience Career Compass Podcast, where we talk about the skills, strategies, and insights for your success in today's workplace. I'm your host, Jason McGill, Creative Coordinator for the DLE. The Career Compass Podcast delivers fresh perspectives and actionable ideas on the topics that matter for career success. In this episode, we're talking about something that many people overlook: how to stay current with your job search and self-development during the holiday season. True to our title, Don't Go on Holiday from Your Career, we will be serving up actionable tips and coaching to keep your career in motion during the holiday season, when distractions flourish. Joining me is Linda Dooley, President and founder of Dooley & Company. Linda is a nationally recognized workplace transformation expert known for converting organizational breakdowns into breakthroughs. Dooley & Company's innovative, spectator-free workplace strategies have significantly improved collaboration, communications, and productivity in leading companies across diverse industries. Linda also manages and underwrites the Dooley Leadership Experience, otherwise known as a DLE, which connects professionals across the U.S. and beyond through free, year-round career development and networking programs. Hey, welcome, Linda.
Hi there, Jason, and happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays. Also joining the conversation is Victoria Modger. Victoria is the Dooley Leadership Experience's social media coordinator and a recent graduate of Marist University. How's it going, Victoria?
Hi, Jason. Thanks for having me.
Great to have you on. So let's face it, between shopping, travel, and endless to-do lists, it's easy to hit pause on career progress during the holiday season. This episode offers creative ways to curate your skill development amidst the mistletoe and merriment. So, Linda, you've often said the holidays are one of the best times to stand out. And that's probably good news for listeners who've been affected by the recent trend of layoffs.
Yeah, that's right, Jason. Amazon, Target, UPS, Microsoft, Verizon, just to name a few. They've all announced major layoffs, and smaller firms as well have made headcount adjustments as the aura of AI grows. Overall, hiring demand and the pace of hiring has cooled during 2025, and that's according to Indeed's job postings index. That combination of economic forces is leading to slower wage growth, declining labor force participation, and longer job searches for unemployed workers. But there is a silver lining. The holiday season is actually one of the best times to ramp up your networking. Festive spirits create an inviting atmosphere to make new connections and also to re-engage stagnant relationships.
So I got one pressing question, Linda. Why?
Why? Because we all feel, well, upbeat. The nostalgic music, festive lights, the anticipation of family gatherings, the holiday treats. Well, all of these factors, well, yeah, I mean, they're uplifting. And that positive holiday spirit makes people more receptive to others' outreach.
Huh. So how can listeners build on those good spirits?
Well, let's start with ourselves. Before you reach out to anyone, you've got to reach within and pay some attention to yourself. And this is particularly true if you have been laid off. A job loss is an extremely emotionally taxing experience, and that feeling is amplified during the holiday season. I can speak from experience. Early in my career, I was a casualty of a reduction in force with a major advertising agency, and that happened just a few days before Thanksgiving. I can tell you that the holiday spirit was so far from being on my radar screen. I was deeply dejected. I felt zero self-esteem and even embarrassment. My confidence, my energy, they had plummeted, and I was in a bona fide emotional abyss.
Wow, Linda, that sounds incredibly difficult to deal with. So, how did you end up climbing out of that hole?
Not alone, with the help of a truly supportive family member. I had what I call a moonstruck moment. And for listeners not familiar with the Nicolas Cage and Cher film titled Moonstruck, I encourage you to watch it. It's a classic. The movie's moonstruck moment that I'm referencing occurs during an exchange between Cher and Cage, who are in a romantic relationship. Cage is a pessimist, and he wallows in a melancholy, self deprecating mood that Cher increasingly has no tolerance for. Pushed to the brink, Cher looks straight into Cage's eyes and gives him a slap on the cheek, ordering him to snap out of it. Basically, get out of this funk and rise up. And for me, that moonstruck moment happened with my family member telling me to knock off the woe is me attitude and snap out of it. Her words weren't accompanied with a slap, but their stark poignancy was quite unexpected. It was a sobering scolding that clearly communicated one message, one very clear message: stop whining and start projecting a can do, resilient attitude if you want to be seriously considered as a standout job candidate. And that positive juju is exactly what you need to maximize the bounty of networking during this holiday season.
Wow. Yeah, that definitely sounds like good advice. Start with me, then move to we. Love that. So, what's the first step to make that external outreach?
Well, you need another mindset shift. You need to think and believe that your outreach during the holidays is not an intrusion. Too often we assume that everyone's too busy or the timing just is not right for connecting with someone, whether it's through social media, a phone call, or an email. However, spontaneous positivity and unexpected recognition will bring a smile by signaling that you had someone on your mind who you value.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely guilty of thinking that, oh, that person I want to reach out to, they're too busy, or, they're not going to want to hear from me. So I love that you touch on that. Now, how do you break the ice in your outreach?
You want to be mindful of your purpose, and your main purpose is simply to connect, to say hello, and let someone know that you're thinking of them. It's not to ask for favors or a job. So, in a short, genuine message, you want to convey a few things. So, we're going to start with a brief salutation, such as wishing you a cheerful holiday season. And then you want to add a personalized sentence of gratitude or recognition. And your message here should make clear how this person's actions or words helped you. Here's an example. Thank you for making the time to coach me to clear the hurdles of that demanding schedule on the IT project that we worked on. I haven't forgotten it. Your encouragement really kept me focused and motivated. And then you want to conclude with an action that will keep the connection going, such as, it would be wonderful to catch up in the new year. I'll follow up then with a few dates to speak. In the meantime, happy holidays.
Yeah, I love that, especially mentioning, that next step to follow up. I feel like that's really important. So what about timing? Does timing matter when it comes to reaching out?
Oh, it sure does. I recommend sending your message in early to mid December, and people tend to be still checking their messages during this period. They're not so much buried by year end commotion and, oh, yeah, last minute shopping.
Hmm. So pack your digital outreach with purpose. The holiday season is a great time to break silence and communicate gratitude.
Yeah, that's right. And here's one more tip for that intentional social media engagement. Step away from passive habits. Make an effort to comment on posts and do so with positive messages. Acknowledge perhaps a new insight that you gained from someone's post or share kudos for someone's professional achievement. I personally recommend a daily discipline of going beyond the swipe for intentional responses, thoughtful comments, not a thumbs up emoji or, God forbid, LOL statement. Start with 15 minutes a day that you're going to be learning and responding. And as your perspective grows with that time of learning and responding, so will your proactiveness.
Yeah, that's great. And building off of that, as the new year approaches, give yourself a small habit or goal to start. Maybe it is just commenting on someone's LinkedIn post every day, or maybe it's reaching out privately to one person a week between now and New Year's. Challenge yourself with a goal and keep yourself accountable. When you treat networking like disciplined practice for professional development, it really grows in importance and significance.
Yeah, those are great points, Victoria. LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, all terrific connection tools for sharing with family members your goal of networking more during the holidays. Family may not realize the power of their networks in helping you move forward. With so many people reconnecting with loved ones this time of year, it could be a great opportunity to have lots of good conversations. Who knows? Your fun uncle might just happen to know someone at your dream company that he can introduce you to.
Bingo! Jason, you just hit on the networking gold mine. An introduction or a referral from a relative, a friend, a colleague, a former college roommate, a neighbor, who knows? Those introductions, whether they're in person or on a screen, they really are the consummate door opener.
You're absolutely right, Linda. This can really make such a huge difference, especially in the job search. In college, I went on an agency tour in New York City to Paramount. This introduced me to so many Marist alumni that work there and helped me grow my network. From there, I was able to connect with them on LinkedIn and have even virtually chatted with one of them about their role.
Wow, that's great to hear, Victoria. So let's touch on one more networking strategy that peaks during the holidays: gift giving. What's your view on buying gifts for someone you've previously worked with or still do?
Well, my advice does not come with a price tag. A terrific book that you've read becomes a very thoughtful gift when accompanied with a personal message. And that message should be of something that you learned from it. Yes, that's repurposing something from your personal library, but you've put thought into this gift by its very selection and also by the accompanying note that explains how you benefited from reading the book. I had a former boss who eagerly welcomed my repurposed business books as my gifts of appreciation for his support. And I vividly remember him telling me how much he appreciated me saving time as a reader by focusing on the paragraphs that I had highlighted in the book with a yellow marker, and also by my handwritten notes in the margins of pages.
Wow, you really went above and beyond, Linda. So that advice also applies to sharing an insightful article about a hobby of interest to your colleague.
Absolutely. And that article comes without a price tag.
Wow, really great advice. So, are there any other gift giving ideas for our listeners out there?
Oh, yeah, I've saved my favorite one for last here. It's my very top gift idea. It's the handwritten holiday card. Go beyond signing your name to including a sentence or two of a personalized message. And I realize that this may be a challenge for our Gen Z listeners because research indicates that 40% of Gen Zers are losing their ability to communicate effectively through handwriting. But there is no better time to practice and improve that handwritten message writing than with a pack of holiday cards.
That is quite a statistic there, Linda. So, why are handwritten cards so special?
Well, they convey that you care. And when you take the time to handwrite several sentences or a paragraph of personalized content, and then, my gosh, we're going to add a stamp and go to a post office and mail this. Well, that card that you've just sent goes well beyond the simple emoji or AI generated comment to recognize someone and express gratitude. You know, at one time, that handwritten note was the standard fare in communication. Today, it's a rarity.
I definitely agree with that. I know that I personally love receiving and honestly giving and writing a handwritten card. It truly does add so much more meaning. On that same PR agency tour that I mentioned earlier, I was actually told by one of the recruiters to follow up with an email and a handwritten card right after an interview. Like Linda mentioned, because it is so rare nowadays, this really makes you stand out professionally and personally.
And don't forget to show generosity to yourself. If you're job hunting or even just thinking about your next chapter, the best gift you can give yourself is self-development. So, what are some actions that our listeners can take?
Well, instead of binging a holiday movie marathon, here are four suggestions to try out. First, update your LinkedIn profile with recent achievements. Focus on 2025 professional accomplishments. Consider adding a new photo or refresh your About section. Two, listen to professional development podcasts like the DLE's Career Compass podcast series. Three, read one article a day on trends in your industry or an industry that you're exploring. Four, and I love this one, attend a holiday party, perhaps in your neighborhood or maybe with a club you belong to. My rowing club, for example, hosts an annual holiday party. Or join a friend who has a plus one invitation to an office holiday party, but no plus one to go with. I love that one.
It's true, this time of the year, many organizations host social gatherings, an in person opportunity to meet new people and practice conversational skills is invaluable.
Yes, definitely a great time of the year to practice those skills and get yourself out there. So, what's one great way to make the most of an in-person holiday party?
Prepare. And I'm not talking about your wardrobe, although that is a good idea. Do some advanced preparations similar to how you would prepare for an interview. So, how would you answer the likely question from someone that you're going to be meeting for the first time? And you know the question. And the question is, so tell me about yourself. What do you do? Well, that's a tough question to answer, especially when you've lost your job and you're probably harboring some ill feelings. Remember, we've got to snap out of the bad juju. Bad mouthing your former company or your boss, the blame game fails miserably as a conversation starter. So you do need, though, to be honest in your response. Humility is a virtue. Mention when you answer that question, what do you do? Mention that you've experienced a job loss and that you're excited about actively pursuing new interests. And that may likely lead to a follow up question that inquires about your interests, which is a wonderful bonus question, giving you the opportunity to talk about your skills and your experience. Now, be prepared to be concise and snappy in sizing up what you do best. By the way, this is going to be great practice for forthcoming job interviews.
Hmm. So, be prepared to either start up or stimulate conversations at a holiday party.
Yep, it's about being proactive. Arrive also equipped with some icebreaker questions. And these informal, open ended questions that should trigger an exchange. Questions like, what plans do you have for your holiday downtime? Or what's your favorite holiday tradition?
Hmm. Great. I'll definitely keep those in mind for my next holiday party. So, in the spirit of preparation and keeping your career advancement active, what's a productive way to wind up the holiday season and robustly start anew in 2026?
Before heading out for that New Year's Eve party, take some time to reflect on accomplishments that can propel you forward in 2026. And here are four questions to ask yourself. First, what went well this past year? Two, what did you learn? Three, what is one skill that you want to build in 2026? And four, what's something new that you want to try? Now, your answers can form your career compass for the new year. Remember, staying current isn't about constant hustle, it's about steady, thoughtful progress.
Steady, thoughtful progress. I love that, Linda. Now, before we close out our podcast, can we pick up where we began with your personal story about losing your job before Thanksgiving? What exactly happened?
I can tell you emphatically that it was the best thing to happen to me in my career, aside from starting my own business. Of course, I didn't think that at the time. Receiving a layoff notice is a shock to the system. And as I mentioned earlier, that feeling is amplified during the holiday season. After experiencing, though, my moonstruck moment, I created a daily schedule for networking and job hunting. I needed that disciplined routine to keep me focused and accountable.
Wow, that's impressive. What else did you do to stay motivated?
I closely evaluated my career aspirations. I looked at my accomplishments, but I really zeroed in on company culture, the kind of culture that I thrive in. And that last metric, company culture, is often shortchanged during job searches. Yet it's a major make or break dynamic. I all too often hear of people who truly love what they do, but loathe the environment that they're doing it in. They don't feel a strong connection with where they work. If you are listening and currently on the hunt for a new job, take the time to thoroughly research the culture of the company or organization that you're pursuing an opportunity with and make sure that there's a positive fit. Don't just settle for a good job in the wrong environment.
So, what about networking? How did you capitalize on that?
Basically, by keeping a completely open mind, a mindset of you just never know who you're going to cross paths with today. A completely unexpected networking opportunity changed my life. After celebrating Thanksgiving with family and friends, I welcomed December's arrival with full pursuit of a new job. And I remember challenging myself to meet at least 5 new people every day. And this was a goal that I really sought to achieve through introductions offered by former colleagues, alumni from my alma mater, Syracuse University, which has an amazing alumni network, professional organizations that I belong to, former coworkers when I started out my first job after college as a newspaper reporter, workout buddies at my gym, and of course, friends. Networking really was my full-time job.
Wow, that is quite impressive. Definitely sounds like it was your full-time job. So, you mentioned meeting 5 new people every day. Did you set any other goals?
Absolutely. I kept tabs on the conversations that I achieved. Most importantly, what did I learn? And how did I apply information that I gained to improve my resume, job interviews, even answering the question, tell me about yourself? So networking became a continuous improvement practice.
Hmm. So, was there a happy ending to your story?
Oh, yes. Through my networking, I received the contact information of the principal of a small advertising firm. And this contact came from a former colleague. So I called this gentleman and introduced myself, and our conversation led me to learning about an open account manager position at his firm. We talked about the position, we talked about my professional experience and my career interests, and at this gentleman's encouragement, I submitted my resume for this open position. Now, having the opportunity to discuss my experience with the firm's leader helped to advance me in their candidate search, and it landed me an in-person interview. And during the interview process, I met with several people at the company, and they were all really friendly, cordial, welcoming. However, the more that I learned from their answers to my questions, the more I knew that their small firm just wasn't the right fit for me. And I did explain that during the interview wrap up. I wanted to be honest as well as appreciative. And apparently that turned out to be a strong and positive combination because the firm's principal, albeit disappointed by my reaction, offered to share my resume and a referral with a client of his. And this client happened to be the corporate communications director of a GE aerospace division. And that incredible gesture opened the door for an interview that changed my professional life and resulted in my first position with GE as a corporate communications manager. And other than growing up in a family business and starting my own company, my GE career was epic. It formed and forged monumental personal and professional growth.
Wow. I really love the ending of that story, Linda. And congratulations on turning that negative into a positive. So it seems like you need to be wide open to opportunities, shake off personal biases that can limit your thinking and actions about pursuing a conversation with a new connection and going with an open mind. And remember, the holidays inspire a more receptive environment for reaching out to that new connection. So thanks for joining us on this episode of Career Compass. Remember, every reconnection is a gift that can spark opportunity, collaboration, and joy. If you liked what you heard today, share it with a friend or colleague. Stay tuned for our next episode, and in the meantime, visit the Dually Leadership Experience website at dually.com for free tools and resources to keep your professional development on track. If this episode sparked new ideas or motivation, pass it along to someone navigating their own next step. And remember, you don't have to wait for January to start growing. Until next time, keep leading, keep learning, and keep showing up.